This week on commandN, David Pogue is in the house. How to get your houseplants tweeting, and Jeff has a great tip from Halifax. Welcome to episode 156 of commandN. I'm hosting solo this week, but we do have a great interview with the very talented David Pogue from the New York Times, and Jeff has a wonderful segment for people out there who need a little more information before they buy their next cell phone and their cell phone plan. Let's get started and talk about the tech headlines of the week. Our first headline this week is giving us a glimpse into the future of the electronic wallet. Now, it's been very popular in other countries. You're able to buy things with your cell phone. But starting next spring in Canada, the Royal Bank of Canada, along with Visa and Rogers, have a pilot project so that at 100 retailers, you'll be able to actually go with your phone and buy things in the store. It's about time. Now take a look at these, another glimpse into the future with a futuristic business card. This is a 3D-like business card from snappily.com. So you have the option to use two different images on your business card. Now if you go to techcrunch.com and you look up the Snappily posting that was there recently, you can get a promo code and get a discount from snappily.com. And if you do a business card, make sure you send them to us because we're always interested. Now, there's been some bad news in the world of online video lately, but if you're Ashton Kutcher, there's some good news lately for his new web series, Blog Girls. This is an animated series with 3 teenage girls. It's a little bit crass sometimes, but it turns out that it's been picked up by MySpace. So you can now see this series on MySpace every single week.
Hey, Unicorn, you know what this party needs?
Yup, some party dust.
This is probably my favorite news headline from the past week, and I have to thank Jesse Morgan, who's a cameraman in Toronto, for this headline. It's about a do-it-yourself Twitter kit for your houseplant. Now, the idea is that you can go to thinkgeek.com, you can pay up to $100 and get this kit, bring it home, hook it up to your houseplant, and then when your houseplant is getting dry because there's not enough water, there's a moisture detector on this kit, and so a tweet will be sent to Twitter. So this means that your houseplant will in fact have its own Twitter account. It's a little bit frightening, but kind of fun at the same time. Now, if you're using Firefox 3 and you're looking to a way to really keep track of all your passwords, create new passwords, there's a great link on Mashable.com with 16 extensions for Firefox 3 that will help you to create new passwords and keep track of the passwords that you already have. Now, I know I have millions of passwords, maybe not millions, but I definitely have a lot of passwords, and sometimes I don't know where they are, I don't know what they are, and I think a lot of these tools will really be helpful.
Hi, I'm Jeff MacArthur. Welcome to this week's Tech Tips. Ever wonder what the 3G in the iPhone 3G was? It's not the third generation iPhone, it's the third generation of the cellular network. Now, I thought I'd do a little tech tips to acquaint people with these different generations, and before I begin, I just want to say, wow, is it complicated? I couldn't find any great global resources out there, but basically it seems to have broken down like this. There's 2 large different types of networks, one of which is GSM and UMTS, and that accounts for about 85% of the networks in the world. And the other one is CDMA, and that accounts for a bit less than 15. So there's another percent or 2 out there of other networks, but these are the main ones. So what has happened is the first generation of networks was the analog cellular system. So that's in the 80s, doesn't really apply to any data. So let's move on to the second generation in the 90s. So on the 2 fronts, you get GSM and CDMA1. And these could download data up to 144 kilobits per second. That's not very good if you want to surf the web. So in moving forward to the next generations, they actually coined the terms 2.5G and 2.75G, but those aren't officially defined, they're more marketing terms. However, they still are meaningful. So the GSM upgrade went to GPRS and then to Edge. And the evolved Edge system can actually do downloads of up to 1 megabit per second. So that's a huge improvement. On the CDMA side, in the 2.5 generation, there's CDMA 2000, which is still only up to the 144 kilobits per second. And these are just enhanced versions of the second generation networks. Now, where the 3G comes into place, in the modern day, 3G has data rates up to 3.1 megabits per second, and the two sort of schools of them are the majority UMTS, which uses WCDMA, and on the other side, CDMA 2000 EVDO. And things are more confusing because now on the GSM UMTS side, you've got WCDMA, which is confusing with the CDMA side. So again, this was a huge headache to find out stuff about. But basically what we're worried about is what are the differences in these generations? What are some approximate download times? And in moving forward to the fourth generation, we've hit this sort of 3.5G, which on the UMTS side is categorized by HSPA, and this allows downloads of up to 7.2 megabits per second. So that's getting respectable. There's some people that probably don't have that in their home system. And all these 3G networks are actually standardized through the IMT 2000 group. Now, hopefully that gives you a little hint at what these different generations mean. Basically, the higher the better. And for most of the world, almost 85%, you're working on a GSM UMTS network. For the other 15, just about, you're on the CDMA network. So I don't know if that balance is going to change over time so GSM starts to take over, but it's good to know that there are two different core threads of this. I'm Jeff MacArthur. That's all for this week. Enjoy.
My entire career has been based on my trying to find magic in the real world. And that, technology is the closest thing we got. Press a button, something happens.
Hello, voicemail, my old friend.
Although David launched his career on Broadway, when he started reviewing software, one of America's most popular newspapers came knocking.
I wrote for Macworld magazine for 13 years, and then in 2000, the Times said,
You will be sent the coolest, hottest, slickest new gadgets.
Do you want to write a column for us? And I said, I'll think about it and get back to you. Yes, and that was that.
As for important innovations David has seen while working to demystify technology,
Of all the world's problems, how many people would put the inconvenience of opening mail in the top 10?
he's a fan of the iPhone, which he's been known to sing about now and again.
I want an iPhone.
So all of a sudden, in a year, everything is changing about what the cell phone is. It is the new laptop.
I got YouTube.
But it's the internet that has him most excited these days.
To the internet!
Web 2.0 just permits the connection of information among the people who have it and the people who don't without the middleman of some corporate interest. It's just changing everything.
Get your morning
Changing everything, including the news biz.
paper, mister.
Well, it's no secret that newspapers in print are sort of kind of going away. The New York Times started asking me a long time ago, it wasn't my idea, to do a blog, to do audio podcasts, to do a video podcast every week. And I think it's something that we'll be seeing more and more. Reporting is not just writing anymore. But I like it. I feel like it's putting me back on stage where I tried to get in the first place back in my Broadway days.
It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday.
I love this stuff. It's the closest thing we have to magic.
So I fire up the old iTunes music store, and soon I am feeling alright.
Our web pick this week is sponsored by our friends at GoDaddy. If you go to GoDaddy, you can sign up for any of their hosting packages, and you get an extra 10% off if you enter the promo code commandN. That's the number 1 and the number 0. And remember, any of these services that you buy from GoDaddy are up to 70% less than the competition. My web pick this week is a site called writeordie.com. This is great for anyone out there who has trouble when they're sitting down and trying to write something. This site allows you to give yourself a certain time limit to write a certain number of words. So all you have to do is go to the site, and it has a blank screen. You press on a time limit of your choice.
Anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 hours.
You start writing, the words are at the bottom right, and so you have the option to really feel as though you're under a lot of pressure and you can get the words out. So a really, really, really handy place to go if you have writer's block, and let's face it, we all have it now and again.
That's right. That is your negative stimulus.
We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and thanks so much to David Pogue for coming out. It was very last minute, and we caught him in Toronto, and we were very happy to talk to him. And thanks to Jeff for a great segment, and Will be back in the next couple of weeks. For now, you can leave all your comments at commandN.tv, and we'll make sure to check in there as often as possible. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, a tribute to the Recording Industry Association of America, the RIAA. Young man, you were surfing along, and then, young man, you downloaded a song. And
I was like, I could feel the wind behind me when that guy went by. It was crazy.
Wow.
You've just been sued by the RIAA. You've just been screwed by the RIAA.